everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming out so early on this cold day. I said to our panelists, if we held this next week, we'd all be in shirt sleeves because it's supposed to be about 43 or 50 degrees next Thursday. So my apologies for the weather. My name is Joyce Kennedy, and I'm the Director of Community Relations here at Concordia College. And again, welcome to all of you. This is the first time in the 10-year history of the Business Breakfast Series that we've had a panel of experts come to talk about their business experience. Today we have Edward Park from Saveway Cleaners, Nicole Pushkal from Nicole Interior Designs, and Claudio Iaccarino from Park Place Bagels. And these three people, while they all run very different businesses, they all have one thing in common, and that's they give 100% plus to customer service. And that's why we asked them here today, to talk about their businesses, their focus on customer service, what it takes to be a successful business person. It's not just that you wake up one morning and decide you're going to have a successful business. It takes a tremendous amount of time and effort. In fact, these three people sitting here today collectively have 75 years of experience in running their own businesses. So how we're going to do this today is because we do have three people, and we want to make sure that everyone, you hear from every single one of them. Each person is going to give a brief intro, talk a little bit about themselves, their background, how they get into the business they're in, and I think you'll hear some fascinating stories just in those intros. And then I'm going to ask them a few questions and get the dialogue going, and then we'll just let it go from there. Then when we're finished, we'll of course take questions from the audience, and they'll be happy to answer those. We had a dry run last week. It was an incredible, synergistic, enthusiastic, and very times funny conversation. So you're in for a treat today from these three people. Happen to know them all very well. You know, they were a little nervous about coming today, but I said this is a friendly group. This is a friendly group. So give them all the respect that they deserve, and please join us in welcoming today these three people. Thank you. Edward, we'll start with you since you're first up.
My name is Edward Park. I'm the owner of Saveway Cleaners. It's a dry cleaning business. The background, right?
Yep.
I was born here in the United States. Used to live in Mount Vernon when I was young, and went back to Korea with my mother. My father was doing business here, and he passed away when I was 7 years old. So we went back to Korea, and I grew up there, finished all the schools, actually studied engineering in college, architect engineering, and came back, worked a couple of years in the architect company, and what else? I wanted to do my own business and try to open a small office with my friend, but you know, it wasn't easy. I wasn't prepared. So at the weekends, I had one baby was pregnant, so I couldn't, feed my family well, so I had to start some weekend jobs, and one of my weekend jobs was Saveway Cleaners. Start there, and actually doing the small office, we failed. So one had to leave, and I left. My friend was keep working there, but I left and start about 17 years ago full-time in Saveway Cleaners. 14 years I worked as a manager, and 2 years now I'm working as an owner. So these two people, as I know, is 25, 30 years of their as an owner. I'm only 2 years as an owner with 15 years of manager experience. So maybe I could share a little different story. And last week when we met, I was learning from them. So I think we could share something, good things, be helpful for everybody. Thank you.
Nicole?
Nicole Pushkal. I own Nicole Interior Designs in Main Street in Tuckahoe. I've been in business 35 years. And I originally was minding my own business in college, and my father owned a small upholstery shop and sort of tricked me into the business. So every day I was leaving, and then I ended up staying. So I saw that there was so much potential in the business, but my dad was a creative genius, but he didn't even know how to pay a Con Ed bill. So every day the lights would be turned off, or he just had no business experience, and I didn't either. I was right out of college. I had no idea what I was doing. So I jumped in at the deep end, and I did all the worst jobs that no one wanted to do. So even though I have to give credit to my team is that works with me are the ones that are experienced and so professional, but I can't do what they do, but I know how to do it. So I'm not good at it, but I learned from the bottom up, and just from there I took it into a different direction. I would come back with crazy designs and ideas, and my father would facilitate that for me. And then we were in Mount Vernon, we started there, and I saw that we weren't doing well there because a lot of our clients were older and leaving, and I said, let's just move to Tuckahoe. So he didn't talk to me for a year. But I knew that that's where we should be. Most of our clients were from Bronxville and Tuckahoe and Yonkers, and I knew that we needed to show, we were up in a loft of a 7,000-foot loft, and it was too big, so I knew that we needed to have a window and show our wares sort of to the community. And I love Tuckahoe. I grew up in Tuckahoe and Bronxville, so I wanted to be there. And from that point on, we started doing window treatments and draperies and making furniture. And my father recently passed away, which is really it's very sad to us because he was the inspiration and he would make it happen. So that's where I learned to never say no. I'll do anything. If you ask me to do it, I'll try my best to make it happen. So that's where we are now.
Claudio?
Claudio Iaccarino, Park Place Bagels. I opened the business 25 years ago. I was in college for 2 years. Unfortunately, I never finished college, and I opened up my first business in Bronxville. Then from there, I opened up 3 other locations. Unfortunately, I sold the last one because you could only be at so many places so many hours of the day. But other than that, I always wanted to get into the food business. I learned from Haagen-Dazs in Bronxville. That was my first job, and I was there managing for maybe about 8 years. And other than that, it's been the same thing.
Thank you all. So the first question I'd like to ask you is, again, what I think that you all have in common, I think everyone here who knows you would agree as well, is your focus on customer service. Talk a little bit, about, I know, Edward, you had a great story when we met last week. You talked about a situation with the customer. You want to start and just get the dialogue going on customer service and why you think that's so important and how that's a differentiator for your businesses.
Customer service, it's business. Customer service is all based on people. That's what I think. Let's say like you go to Bagel shop or her shop or my shop. When you go to a restaurant or wherever, let's say you go to a restaurant, the food gotta be good. It's not a issue that, it's good or not, or if you go to cleaners, or they clean good or not. I don't think that's the issue to talk about. It gotta be good. So that's the base, and after that, what's gonna be different? Who serves you, who meets you? And another thing is like us, we might meet 10, 20, 30, 100 people a day. When we meet them in the morning, it's easy. But at the afternoon, when we get tired to meet people, it's very hard. And during the day, some people come, cheer us up, or curse us. Because sometimes we make mistakes, but even that, there is some rude people, right? But the people who I meet now is the only first one that I meet in my store. So I try always to be smile and positive and to listen. And also what I feel is the customers wants to get their answers from a smart person. We have to be smart but humble. They don't want somebody to go over them or so always try to be humble, listen, and whatever I could provide. Another thing is, when I meet the customer, when they ask something for me, I think, let's be ready to lose lose first, give it first, and then whatever I could do for them, I think after that it's going to come back to me. Like the first generation immigrant owners, what I learned from work was, first thing was profit. Take the profit, think the profit first. But you know, years and years after I working, I realized that didn't make the customers feel comfortable. So I changed the way, opposite. Lose first, don't count the profit. If it works out, then it's gonna come back to me. Half and half. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. I'm only 2 years in business, but I believe who realized that, you know, try to give us the work. Maybe if I meet 10 people, 3 of them is just passing. 5 of them trust us. 2 of them is so-so. And when I see the customers, there is, I don't know in the book, I didn't study business, so I don't know in the book there's the word like that, but there's profitable customer and valuable customer. I don't count the profitable customer. The valuable customer means me not money. Let's say there's some customer comes once a month, twice a year, but there is some customers that share with us. Like sometimes we cry together, sometimes we smile together. And actually on the front, my wife do more work than me, so she shares more stories. A lot of people wants to talk, not even just cleaning. When they have questions with cleanings, I come out and explain everything. When they want to share their stories, my wife spent time there. Sometime when I finished talking with the customer, I said, oh, I shouldn't ask. I shouldn't make the story that long, but I have to. But you know, I think that's customer service. That is not just the quality of the work.
Right.
That got to be guaranteed on the base.
Nicole, do you find that same thing?
I do. I feel like sometimes we're psychiatrists or, you know, therapists or whatever, but we have had our clients, I think this is the most important thing that you should take away from, I think all of us have this, is that once a client, that you make them feel like they can trust you and they know that you're there for them and you're going to give them the product, you're not going to try to sell them anything that they don't want, you're giving them what they want, I think they'll be your client forever.
Yeah.
And I have the same clients, they've moved all around, I've done their houses, now I'm on their kids.
You did my couch 7 times.
That's true, I was like, you can't, I even said to her, no more, that's it, let's find something new. But I think that's what makes us, and we love our clients. Like remember in 2008-9, everybody was like, we're going out of business. It was a bad time. I don't know how you were, but I was on the edge of saying, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, it's really slow, the economy is bad. All of my old clients, like, sort of came to our rescue. Even with small things, it seemed like they knew that they wanted to keep us. I'm not sure they did it consciously, but it just seemed like they all sort of banded together. We didn't get any new clients at those couple of years, and we did go into debt. I just finished paying off all that debt. But I knew in my heart and soul I didn't want to go out of business because I put all of my heart and soul for the last 25, 30 years into it. So I knew if I could make it through there that we'd still have those clients, and I would do whatever I could to make them happy, and they still are our clients.
Yeah,
so.
you won't lose their clients. You keep
No,
them.
the old ones always stay with us, you know, and the new ones too, but it's making new ones also. But the old ones really kept us through that bad time, I think.
Claudio, you want to
I
add
agree.
to that?
I agree with both of you. I mean, customer service is my main goal with everything. I mean, I'm there early in the morning, so I want to put a smile on my face every single customer throughout the day. That's the key. And the most you want to make every customer feel special. You want to make them feel comfortable. And when they see a smile on your face or somebody's happy, they'll be back the following day for the same thing. It's the repetition of having a great customer and a great server as well on a daily basis.
I think it's our positive attitudes. I think all
You
three
have to
of
be.
us
You have to have a
yeah.
positive attitude on a daily basis. Yeah.
Even when you really want to be sad.
I try to be happy and go lucky every
Me too.
day. I do.
Me too.
I
And I
do.
think Edward is the same way. I think we're all the
You
same
have to.
personality.
It's just part of business, part of
Yeah.
retail business. You just have to.
You turn it around.
have to.
If something bad happens, and it really hurts, I think it hurts all of us if someone doesn't like our product. I think we
Sure.
all feel that way. But you turn it around, you say, I'm gonna do better, or I'm gonna make it better, and it goes away, and you just move on, and try to be, was pleasant to everyone.
Unfortunately, for every negative occurrence that happens, you're gonna get 100 people are gonna hear that, but they will not hear the positive ones as
Right.
much as the negative ones.
Right.
So you wanna just try to be on your game most of the times if you can.
And speaking of negative, can you give an example, we talked a little bit about this last week, of maybe when you might have turned around a situation with a difficult customer and maybe, had a customer for life after
For me,
that?
it's very easy. I mean, it's just a matter of just discarding the product and making a new one for them immediately, always with a smile, or returning the money, which is never an issue. But as far as,
Nicole, I'm sure you've also.
that's more
Yeah,
difficult.
mine's
That's
a
more
little
difficult, that's what I'm saying.
But I have done
Me, it's
that.
instant,
I've done
instantaneous.
things over. I never say no. I'll never say to me, the client is always right. Even if it's not, some people are very difficult and you cannot please them. It doesn't matter. You have to try to please them as much as you can, and maybe they'll still leave there after you've done cartwheels, after you've done their stuff over, after you've made whatever alterations. They're still not happy, but at least you know in your
No, deep in your
heart
heart, you did the
that
right
you
thing,
did the right
yes.
thing. And I never say no. We just had a client recently who wasn't nasty about it or anything, but the fabric didn't hold up, and I just did the job, and we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. No questions asked. I did them over. I got her new fabric. She'll be my client for life. I know she will. And so eventually the money will come back. But it's a tough thing if you're a small business, because people think $1,000 is not a big amount, but for small businesses, $1,000, $5,000 is a lot of money. So you have to do what you have to do, and then hope that it will come back to you, threefold, twofold.
Do you have anything you want to add to that, Edward?
Just a case like customer service. What I did was, a lot of times when they pick up their package, there's 6-piece in there, 5-piece in there, 7-piece in there. When they pick it up, they don't count. So, they don't know it's there or not. And I hear that from all other customers came from other cleaners to me, and they said, I picked up the package. It wasn't, 1 piece was missing. And I go back to the store and they say, oh, it's always there. You just picked it up. It's somewhere in your closet. It happens to me, and not often, but it happens to me. And when I was a manager and learning the works, my previous owner was my uncle, and he said, all right, just hold it. Like, let's give us time, 2-3 weeks, it will show up. And most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, it shows up in their closets. But when I became an owner, I changed the way. It happened about 2-3 times to me last 2 years. There was, it's what I said, valuable. Those customers was valuable customers to me. They said I was missing a piece, and I was checking the record, and I said, might be in your closet, but I'll hold the money. How much is it? They said 150, 300. Then one person I write the check, one person I hold gave her the credit, and they was happy because if they couldn't find it, they could buy it. But after 2-3 months, they came back and said, oh, I was sorry, and they just came with the check. I found it in my closet. My son hung it in his closet. It was in my son's car, blah, blah, blah. And after that, what happened is they trust us 100%. Whatever I say, whatever I provide, they say, oh, thank you, and just fully trust us. Then it became my customer. So, as I said, customer service, what I try to be humble, ready to lose first.
Right.
But there is some nasty, rude customers. And, if you meet 40, 50 people every day, when you just meet and talk 5 minutes, how, about the personality, what kind of person it is. Some customer comes in and just asks the price, how much is your shirts? And those kind of customers, by my experience, it's not going to be my customer. They judge my work by price. I won't say my price is better than others, because my price should be a little bit higher than others, but in cleaning, just roughly, I'll say, to start to finish, if there's 10 steps, a lot of cleaners, as I know, they skip 1 or 2 in the middle, so they do 8 or 9 steps to save the cost, but as I learned to do one or two more steps to make better, and after I became an owner, I added another one or two more steps. So like when the other cleaners do 9 or 10 steps, I spend 3, 4 more steps to provide more better service or more better quality. So, I can't deal with the price because everybody's gonna think there's $1 per shirt, and I charge $2 for a shirt. So let's say when the $1 shirts make 10 cents profit, they were gonna think I'll make more than 20 cents per shirts, but it doesn't work that way. I use more better quality soap, more labor. I spend more for the product to make it better. So not each piece doesn't make me money. If the people knows my quality is good and I have a little more volume than others, then I make money from that. Not from each piece try to make, I want to make $1 from here, $1 from here. It's not going to work that way, so as I know. So I try to provide loose first and then wait till the customer realize it's different. And a lot of our customers, I think they realize I hear a lot of words, they say, oh, now I know, I get what I pay. Is that the right word? And another thing is to get better customer service is when you go to the store and you feel something good, tell them. Like, thank you for your work. Your work is wonderful,
Yeah, positive feedback,
excellent.
sure.
Yeah.
Next time when you come,
Right.
we're always going to remember that customer who said the good words to us, and we're going to focus once more, at least one more time, we're going to see on their work to make it better. When they say excellent, we want to make, next time we want to listen perfect.
Right.
And after perfect, we want to listen. I don't know what's after that,
Customer, I save all of my thank you notes, and sometimes people are so nice. And when we deliver things or we install draperies, I always call and say, or I'm there, or I call and say, hope you were happy. And I think people appreciate that. That's one thing that
They do, they acknowledge,
yeah.
they acknowledge it.
And if I can't be there, I usually am on all of my jobs, but if I can't be there, I'll write a note. But I save all of my notes because it's so nice to, to put them in a little bag every year. And I put them away every year. But it's nice when someone just acknowledges, because we do put our heart and soul into everything. It's not just a job. That's what I think everyone has to realize. It took us a long time to get to where we are, but we worked really, really, really hard, and we still have to work hard every day. We never slack off because you can't. Your heart and soul is into everything. You have to love what you do. I think that's what makes a great business.
Claudio, why don't you talk a little bit too about, we discussed this last week, about the amount of time and what it took to get where you are today. We were even talking about the fact that you get up at 3 o'clock every morning.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, there's this big misconception
So if you thought 7 a.m. was early.
this misconception about people like, oh, you're the owner, you could,
Right.
you don't have to be there all the time. But you know what? I'm sorry to say, but that's false. You have to be there all the time. You want something successful, you have to be there. I'm there for 25 years, and I'm still putting in 90 hours a week, easy. I get up every day at 3 o'clock, and I leave maybe 4 o'clock, 4:35. Yes, I have managed to go to the other 2 locations and check, but it's just part of the business. You have to be there all the time, and you have to be hands-on. Yes, there are people that say appoint a manager. I've tried that. It's just not the same. They don't have the same vested interest that you do. And I'm not bad-mouthing managers, but they don't have it. At the end of the day, they go home. At the end of the day, if something breaks, which between the 3 stores, something's always breaking every day, I have to stay and fix it. Or I have to call somebody. I'm a little handy, so it helps out with that. But you have to call the guy to fix it. And 99% of the times, it's after hours. So that 4:30, 5 o'clock at night turns out to be 8, 9 o'clock at night. And that's part of business. It's just, you have to be there. It's a big part of it.
I think we all have great people that work for us too.
We
Like,
do, and again, I'm
have
not
a-
knocking the guys,
Yeah.
but it's just, at the end of the day, they go home and they don't have the headaches that you have. I
Exactly.
mean, you still
It
have
always-
plenty of headaches, there's
right.
always something going on,
You know,
always.
I have a great team. The people that work for me are wonderful, and they've been with me a long time. And the woman that works in my office is wonderful, and she cares about the business. She does. And
In fact, she's right in the back there.
Oh,
And
she's
your
here.
mother.
yeah, I ruined my mother's life also. So I dragged her into the business. So, I think they make us. You have to have a good supportive team around you also. People that care and. But ultimately, it is our responsibility. I mean, I go home, and Edward and I were talking about this. We dream of solutions.
For the following day.
And then the next day, we run in and say, "Oh wait, we could fix it that way, or we could do it that way." So we live, eat, and breathe our businesses. And even though we have families, and we of course love them and try to take care of them, it's our business, it's our baby too.
It is.
It's a little bit out of the topic, but the employees. I have a good team too. It's out of the topic, but when I hire the employees, there is ability, like skill-wise and personality. I see the personality for 51%, and the 49% is the skill. Because if the skill is good and the personality is bad, then screw up whole team. If it is 49%, it's never 49% full, but let's say it's 45%, 40% of skill, then we have to
Yes.
fill
You
the
can
gap.
work on the skill, but you
Yes.
can't work on the personality.
And whatever they
We can do
can't
the
make,
job, right?
we have to run in,
Right.
always fill the gap.
Right.
Right?
That's a very good point, absolutely. And I'm sure that you've seen over the years, businesses come and go. I know, Claudio, you're in, downtown Bronxville, and, but actually both sides of Bronxville, and you're also in Chester Heights, and Nicole, Tuckahoe, and Eastchester. Do you want to comment, Claudio, on, like, when you see a business fail, like, do you have any insight, or even if you want to talk about, what, in addition to that, like, what people need to know to go into a business? Maybe if you could share that, too.
I mean, I don't think opening a business should scare anyone. I think if you have something in your mind you want to do, I think you should just do it, but don't do it at 50%, do it at 100%.
Right.
Put both feet in the water and, make sure both feet are going to get wet, because you want to put all your time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And you can't give up, because it took me about 3 years before I actually started seeing a profit in the Bronxville location. And it's,
They say about 5 years. It
Yeah,
really
yeah.
takes 5 years. If you can do it.
That's why I didn't see the profit.
It's coming, Edward. It's coming.
I'm still putting in.
We were-
Well, no, I can pay my bills, but
We were all saying that there's been millions of times that I went home without pay.
Of
I have
course,
to pay my
no, of
staff.
course.
Okay.
I mean, that's another thing. People always say, you have to pay yourself first. Well, you'll read that in all the
No, you
business
have to pay
books.
the staff,
No, the
because-
staff, otherwise you won't have a business.
right.
So that you have to pay your staff first, and there's been, really, I can't even count. In the early years, I don't think I even made, I prorated about $1 an hour, but again, you know that you can do it, and you just try and try. It breaks my heart when I see businesses go out.
I agree.
It really does.
It's a lot of money
because-
that they're losing. It's a
Exactly.
lot of
They
money
fix
they're
up their
losing.
stores, they put the signs, they go to the signboard. There's so much involved in doing a business, and it breaks my heart. But I think sometimes they don't give it enough time.
They don't give it time, they don't do the proper research as
And they
well.
don't do, right, they're in the wrong
They're
location.
in the wrong location.
Right.
I mean, you gotta take all those parameters and put foot traffic and
Right.
all different things like that to contribute to what your business is hoping to do.
Right, not to knock Eastchester, but when CVS is there and they put a Walgreens right next door, I said, what, why, who did the research here? I mean, they're still both in business, but I can't imagine that they're both doing
Exceptionally well,
phenomenally.
correct.
in Eastchester, I have, including me, I think we have 10 dry cleaners. You could walk in 5 minutes, 10 cleaners. If you drive in 5 minutes, I might say 20 or 25 cleaners you
Right.
could see. But because of too many cleaners, we're all struggling.
Right.
And definitely sure I'm the best. But because I'm the best, I can't be the cheapest. And
But
because-
you know what also makes it, healthy competition is great. I mean, there's an interior designer right up the block from me, and they've been in business for 100 years. I'm sure they have their own clients, but there's enough business to go around. And I
Correct.
think if you find your little niche, that's the most important thing. Well, in my business, you guys are, just have good products, but mine, maybe people come to us because we're a little bit different or a little, and then they like that, there's something about the type of business because, there's Tuckahoe Paint and Glass right down the block that's been in business forever, but we all there's 3 of us or 4 of us in an area, but everybody seems to have their little piece of the pie. There's a lot of places around, but people do still come to you because you're the best.
But competition is good as well because it
Yes,
keeps
it's
you on your
on your
game.
toes, right?
It does. It keeps you on top of
It
your
does.
business.
And we try to be friendly with all of our people too. Like I call Amy Interior sometimes and say, I can't find good Dacron, where are we going? We're
Yes.
friendly with them too because they have their own customer base and we have our own customer base. And we're in a nice community and people want to support. That's another thing. We have a great community. People really do want to support local businesses. And I feel the same way, and I've been on the Chamber of Commerce for years, and that's our thing, shop local, and I think people really do want that, to stay in the community.
Just as a question on the customer's input, I wanted to add,
Absolutely.
I love my customers. I do. I love them. And they did. They made a few remarks about what I could do or how I could change it. I took maybe 2 of the 3. Third one was to open later, but I don't have the manpower to open later. But credit card, getting a credit card in my establishments, that was a major plus. That was a major plus because business was up about 45% ever since I started taking credit cards.
Wow.
So that was a plus.
Everybody uses
Yeah.
plastic,
Yeah.
There's
even
a
for
cost to taking a
$10.
credit
Yeah, I
Too.
mean, the
It's a
cash
process
is,
thing, yeah.
cash is on the back burner. It seems like everyone,
Yeah.
no one's carrying cash anymore. So that definitely increased business. And other than that, like maybe soups, I have, instead of having them hot, I have them in the cold case. So that's a big plus for them. So after a long day of work, they would grab it. But I mean, customers' input is always a big plus.
Yeah.
It's
And you
always
also
going to
offer
bury your
gluten-
business.
You also offer gluten-free products.
Yeah, sure, exactly. That's another, right.
Moving
Right.
along with the times,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, whatever the customer asks for, you have to accommodate them.
And Nicole, you had also mentioned about the website.
A client of mine, I didn't even really think about the website, even though I use websites all the time, and I know my website should be better. She said, your website is horrible. When I go on there, it looks like there's no representation of your work. I was like, I know, but we're so busy sometimes. It's hard to find somebody
It's
to
time,
help
too.
us and to get the pictures done, and I know that's so, but I'm really working on that. Since I moved, I'm really working on my website because I use a website all the time. I go
Right.
on there, so I should know better. So she said,
Great internship possibility.
yeah. Anybody interested, come and see
Helping with the
me.
website. Edward, do you have anything you want to add to the customer advice that you received?
Last year, 2 years ago, when I started, when I was a manager, I didn't see that, but when the customer comes in, I saw there was few bags, dry clean, they took it out and drop it to me, and they go somewhere. I didn't know that was the wash and fold drop off to the laundromats. So what I added is, wash and fold service. I can't do it on my space, but I send it out. I find a good person who could do it. But when I started that, I was thinking about if the place that I sent out mess up the jobs, like wash and fold, there's like underwear, socks. When they say, I lost my socks, I lost my underwear, there's no proof, right? So I was thinking about if that keep happens, it's gonna make my reputation bad. So I was like thinking a couple of months, but I started and I saw the customer likes it, but that item is not profitable. I'm just 100% service
Right.
because we make pennies through that. And another thing was, I started that for my regular dry cleaning customers to make comfortable, one-stop shopping.
Right.
But I had more customers who just do wash and fold and doesn't get connected to dry cleaning. I make money from dry cleaning, not laundered shirts, not button-down laundered shirts, not wash and fold, but still we're doing it. They like it, but it didn't really work out for my profit. But more traffic in the store helped look healthy. That was the only thing that I changed in the last two years for customers. To help out the customers feel comfortable in my store.
Just to jump on what Edward said, we try to do all of our work in-house because we can control it. And that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
Absolutely.
So, but there are things that we do have to send out, and there's things that we can't make at our store that are sometimes difficult or whatever. But things come in, again, it's quality control. Things come in, I don't like them, so we take them apart and do them over again. Of course, you're losing money on it, but again, the end product is what you want. It's very nice to have our own businesses to control what goes out of our businesses. I think all of us check everything before it leaves, and the things that we don't check, sometimes you say, oh, that's okay, I don't have to look at that, but you do, because all three of us are the ones that are the most particular, I think.
Right. So is your reputation on the line.
Right, yes,
Sure.
and I know if I like it, my client's gonna like it, and that's, I think, sending things out, that's another thing about owning your own business. Yeah, you want to send things out, but it's really comes back to you. It's always you. It's always that it's your reputation, and it doesn't matter. You can't say to the customer, well, I didn't do that, I sent it out. You can't have that kind of attitude. It's what you are, so that's another thing that you always have to be there to watch and stuff.
Like dry cleaning business, like at least every day, about 300-400 pieces is running to be finished.
I can't believe that. That's a lot.
And end of the day, like 4 or 5 o'clock, we have to pack it and then file it. But before packing, because of 300-400, at least 300 pieces are running, sometimes we can't find one piece. Then I stop everybody, and we all run, dig everywhere.
Search for
if
that
we
piece.
miss today, tomorrow we can't find it. Unless it's misfiled and packed and go out,
Right.
then we can't find it. So sometimes now I train them all, so it doesn't really happen often. But once it happened, everybody stop. 1-2 hour, we dig whole store. All the package was
Julie can
packed.
attest to that.
We have to find it. So that's why I said, like before, when the customer said we lost something, let's say we lost something, I know every story.
Yes.
Because where it is, what happened, or I'm holding it.
Right. We have too much information.
When they say, oh, I missed that piece, I know where that piece is. I know where it was packed. And every day, even let's say we couldn't find it that day, as we said, 24/7.
Your mind is on it. Your mind is on it.
The
Sure.
employees just go home, and tomorrow come back, they start finding it, but in whole night. Sometime when these closed numbers, there's all numbers. So in dreaming, the numbers are. And a lot of times,
You need a vacation.
a lot of times,
Vacation.
I
vacation?
found the solution in the dream, and I go to the store in the morning.
I swear I do the same thing.
And what I saw in the dream, I tried to find it. It's there.
I swear
Like
know.
vacation.
we all need a vacation.
Like he works at least 90 hours. My store operating hours are 70 hours. I might work 80 hours. That.
I'm the slacker here for sure.
And the customer, when they come to the store, they want the fast answer, direct answer, right answer, smart answer. The employees, my employees are all good, but they can't provide it.
Right.
And the customer wants to see me. My employees always call, Edward, this, is it right, is it right? Also my customers, can I see Edward? Can I see Edward? I'm running in the back, okay. It's frustrated, tired, but when I turn around, try to smile. And there's 3 counters. I have 3 counters, the touchscreen monitors on the borderline. I printed out big smile with greeting. Big smile with greeting. Smile, 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 smile.
I can't wait to come into the store and go, Edward, I need to see Edward.
And you better be smiling.
I know.
Is there anything else the three of you would like to add before we open it up for questions to the audience? Anything you want to close with, or?
I think it's wonderful to own your own business, and don't be scared. Do something that if you want to open your own business, make sure you love it, because it's going to bring you low and high, and just work hard.
True.
That's
Don't let anything discourage you from it.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you have a good concept or a good idea that you want to do, just like I said, do it 100%. Don't go in
Right.
halfway.
Another thing, when I get paid as a manager for 15 years, what I did, you know, when I see the busy stores, big stores, and the owners driving a good car, I thought, oh, they're doing good, they're making money. And also my uncle, when he said, oh, the business is hard, but I was getting paid every week, the check was coming, so I didn't realize, I didn't feel it. But when I became an owner, first thing every end of the week was counting the money for the payrolls. And some months, I'm working with my wife, some months we don't get nothing. When it's very, very slow, the weather is bad, the winter time, the vacation time. Some months we get more than we need, but you know, that doesn't come to my pocket. I have to save it for the business. And you know, when you see the stores that say, oh, they're running good, they're gonna make big money. It's not that. When you start, first thing is you're not in your pocket. You gotta save the money for surviving and feeding your employees. If they don't get paid, they're not going to work
They don't show
for
up for
you.
work, exactly.
And no matter how much they love you, if a couple of
It
weeks
doesn't matter.
coming up, yeah, they have to feed their families too. So, you know, like right now we're very slow, and January is our slow
February,
time.
yes.
So, you know, yesterday one of my guys, for the first time in a long time, he said like, "There's nothing else to do." I said, "Yeah, we're picking up stuff on Friday, so go home." That like killed me to have him go home because it's scary to say, well, if we're not busy by next week, like, yeah, we can survive, but not for so long. So you're always, no matter how successful you think we are, we're always worried about new business, and you can't let your guard down. You always have to save, and I think when people go into business too, they don't realize, like, so many people say, well, I'm going to open my own business, but you have to realize you have payroll taxes, you have sales tax, you have your utilities. Like, they don't go in with the whole picture. And I think that's where people go wrong too about going out of business.
It's true, you have to do your math, like you said, just to put the key in the door.
Right.
You have to factor in your Con Ed bill, you have to add all those things up. And by the end of the day, it's like $700 just to break even.
Right.
That's without payroll and all that.
Right.
That's just to keep the business going.
Right. We're such a therapy session for each other, so we have to meet like once a month. And it is nice to have other people that are in business because, like
They can
Edward
relate to
said,
it.
people think that we have all this money, but it's not like that. You know, we're doing the same thing. We're making a living. You know, and that's it.
Like I was working 15 years as a manager, paid every week, so I thought that if I became an owner, just work a little more harder, it's gonna work out.
3 times the amount.
But when I became an owner,
We're poor.
what I didn't learn was, there was tons of paperwork. I thought that if I do cleaning well, customer service well, then it's gonna all work out. But I didn't learn about the paperwork, and I didn't learn and feel the pain of the money when it's, when it's not working well. So, when you became an owner, there's another 50% you have to learn.
Right.
Before that, even your skill-wise, customer service-wise, you're perfect. When you became an owner, there's another 50% you can't learn, before you became an owner. And
I think 10% of it is a little bit of luck too. You know, you have people that like you, and you're in the right place at the right time, and So, I see that some businesses just have a shelf life too. Some businesses just have a shelf life, and then after 10 or 12 years, they go out of business. But hopefully, we'll be here until they take us out.
I agree. That's the goal.
Well, hopefully not. And on that note, does anyone from the audience have any questions? Oh, we'll start with Professor Roth, and then we'll jump to the board.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank the panel so much for coming here
Thank you.
today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Telling your story. I especially want to thank Claudio for providing the bagels.
Oh, my pleasure.
If you notice, Claudio, we got a very good turnout.
It's my
What's that
pleasure.
extra credit with the bagels?
It's not easy to get students up at 7 a.m. But I just have to say, and this is firsthand, that I've been a customer of Mr. Edward and Claudio for several years. Nicole, I'm sorry. I talked to my wife about that. And I see firsthand, all the things that they've been talking about, the quality of customer service, managing their employees, just running their business day to day. And that's something that we try to reinforce and instill in our students. We have a lot of business students in the audience. But the thing that I am most impressed with, particularly in seeing this almost on a daily basis with Edward and Claudio, is how they will roll up their sleeves. I mean, to get in there, and they've been talking about, dealing with the customers. I mean, they will do whatever it takes to make the customers happy. And that's something, quite honestly, I don't think anybody can teach. But what I'm interested in, maybe you can share with the audience, is where did that come from? And Nicole, please, you can jump in too, because I'm sure it applies to you. Where does that come from? Where does that sort of inspiration or motivation to do that, to be able to, again, do whatever work is required, working hard? I mean, role models in your life? I
don't think there's any role models. I just love to see my customers happy. I mean, it makes me happy when they're happy.
And we love our product.
You
think.
you stand by your product,
Right.
and just want to make the customers happy. Whatever makes them feel comfortable and happy, I'll just go out of my way and do it. Whatever need be.
It's a work ethic too, I think.
It is. There's some people that, like you said, there's some people that have it, and some people do not.
Right.
And you can't instill that into somebody if they
Yeah.
don't have it.
I studied engineering, right? As I said at the start, life didn't lead me as I wanted. I wanted to just sit on the desk and just read the paper side and then pass. I didn't want to see all those people every day. But once to live, I had to do that. If I make them happy, it makes me happy and
Right.
comfortable and make the day easy. Once we fight, there is arguments and fights. There is not to. I never try to excuse, like when something happened because of this product, blah blah blah. I try to do whatever I could do, but there is some arguments and fights sometime. Not often, like once a year, twice a year, but once that happens, whole day getting very hard. Not whole day, maybe some few days, getting hard to go back to normal. So I try to provide, do my best to the customer. That comes back to me. That's it's hard to smile every time, but if I see the customer get frustrated, not smiling, and go out, it comes back to me.
Sure, it ruins your day. Exactly,
Yeah.
it does.
We
It
all have
does.
such pride in our businesses, I think, and we want everybody to be happy. We want people to come back, and we're happy when we're busy. I think that's what we all thrive on, the being busy and happy about everything. We do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ford had a question as well.
My question is, and I deal with Claudio most often, but how do you get and hold the kind of positive employees that are so much an important part of your business?
I pay them very well. But they always look up to me as their leader. That's what they tell me. They says, because they see when I'm upset sometimes, which is very few times, but it'll always be for an order that maybe they fouled up. But if I put positive energy out there, they try to produce the same amount, and they try to keep up with me. And I think that's what their comment is to me. We have a good leader, and I'm very good with them, and it works both ways. So I treat them as employees as well as friends,
Right.
and that helps out a lot. And they help with, they see the way I am with the customers, and they try to duplicate the same.
Yeah.
And it's very few I get workers that don't want to be bothered, but a good majority of them do have a positive feeling towards working and especially towards the customers. And that's what it's all about. That's part of business, is to be positive and give customers what they want. And they admire seeing a lot of you people every single morning. They do. They look forward to it.
Yeah.
And, it
Same
makes the day go faster, it makes the day better, and it's very uplifting to work in an environment where, customers are great as well as the workers. It just makes everything a lot easier.
Yes?
I agree with all of that. As a former business owner, sometimes the customers can make or break your business. And I know customers, they can be unsatisfied. So when you get the unsatisfied customers, how do you, not every customer should be, their advice should be taken. For your bagels.
Yes.
Your bagels are excellent.
Well, thank you.
So, you could always think of ways to improve or to change or to add a product or some ideas like
Sure.
that. But your bagels are excellent, so there's a customer that's not satisfied. Come and complain about these bagels, but you have all of these people who are satisfied with your bagels. So, of course, excellent customer service and stuff like that, but changing products and trying to appease one customer, satisfying one, while you have these 100 satisfied customers. For you, Edward, checking and balance to make sure that what they send to you and what they get back, they sign for it, I agree with this. You're gonna have confrontational customers, so you don't want that bad word to get out. But in the same token, you want to continue to have your quality product. So how do you handle those customers who are just not, you can't please them no
Can't
matter
please
what
them.
you do? My business was contracting, so to tear down a room and
That's a
rebuild
big
it
job, sure.
is a big
Sure, it's a big
It's a
job.
lot of money. And ultimately, those customers is what, because you got overhead expenses, ultimately, those customers will cause my business to
To
fail.
fail, sure.
So, you get one person who just, you never, no matter what you do, you can
Right.
tear down the entire roof, come build up the basement or up, they're still not gonna be satisfied. It's gonna cost you money. So for those unsatisfied customers, how do you handle those?
Well, that's a good question. My aspect, once again, is my items are very low, low price. So if they're not happy with the bagel, I could offer them something else, a soup or a sandwich, just to make up for the bagel they weren't happy with.
Mine is probably closer to
It's going
what
to be
you're
more
talking
difficult,
about.
like you said, your example. Contracting is difficult. How do you,
Sometimes you have to just take a percentage that are never gonna be satisfied. And if they do sort of give you a bad word to another customer until someone else comes and says, no, I had a better experience. I'm sure you've all gone to restaurants or places and bought things and it was great one time and not great the other. So it's up to the person to say, maybe that was just a bad time, let me
right.
try them again, or, and there's a lot of money involved, sure, but there's only so much you could do. If you bend over backwards and you give them their money back, or whatever the case, maybe there's some people that just can't be satisfied, and you just have to move on. And I'm sure it hurts me, I hate that. I don't like to leave off with a client at all. And over the years, I've been pretty lucky, but, things happen. People don't like you sometimes just because they don't like you, But I think we're all people pleasers, so we try to.
you try your best, yeah, you do, you try your best.
And I think we all know that we try our best, so if someone doesn't like us, it's sometimes not our fault.
Right.
Not everybody could be our, customer, right?
Right, so yeah, sometimes they just don't like us.
like me, our routine customer who comes once a month, every week, once every 2 weeks, those customers doesn't make problems. When they ask, could you do this? First of all, who serves the customer gotta have excellent skill-wise knowledge to explain first. Like our routine customers, I don't have problem with. There is some customer who comes once in a while, or I never seen, and they bring some weird garments. Say, could it be cleaned? And then I always check it out and say I think maybe 50% possibility, and I'll just try the first few steps. And if it doesn't work out, I'm just going to give it back to you. I'm not going to charge. Even I spend an hour, 2 hours, I give the deals like that. If it works out, then that customer became my customer, but I don't want to disappoint them. So I give the deals I'll try a few steps. If I see it's working, then I'll process it. If not, I'll just give it back to you with no charge. That's how I start. And the problem is other cleaners that I heard, the complaints that I heard is the counter person saying, oh, maybe we could do it, maybe, let's try, and they mess it up. Because they don't know about it. Like last 17 years, in this area, in Lower Westchester, I'm the biggest clean. It doesn't mean the biggest value or biggest money maker, but store-wise, we are the biggest. So I saw many cases. When I learned, I made a lot of mistakes, but every mistakes you make, you got to learn from it.
Yes.
If you just pass it, next time it's going to keep happening. But if you learn from the mistakes, your skill going to go, up. And I'm not the best, but could be part,
You're the best.
be excellent. I could be,
I think we had another question over here, Gary.
I mean, I remember, to me, it's so much about the relationship and feeling engaged when you come in the store. I mean, the first time I met Edward was probably close to 15 years ago. I had no idea what I was doing when I was walking in the cleaners. I just knew there was parking in front of the store and it was easy. So I brought my stuff in and he asked me how I want it. And I have no idea. I want it clean. That's all I want. And we kind of worked through it. And now, every time I walk in, refers to me my name, all that. And, that just means a lot. And
You feel good, yes.
same thing with Claudio. There was a time where I was in your store just about every day.
Yes, yes.
It didn't help my overall health, but the food was good. And, that's important to me.
And then my work is still giving you a hard time.
Oh,
Makes it worse.
the feeling engaged, while you're in a store or a shop is important. And I think the other biggest thing that you do, Claudio, is how well kids are treated. There's my nieces and nephews constantly, whenever a birthday, Christmas, whatever's coming up, they want a gift card.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And some of them, well, they can all see over the counter now, but for so long they could only see so high, but that's where they wanted to go
They wanted
during
to go.
lunch and stuff like that. And when people see their kids being treated well, or their nieces and nephews, that's a place they want to go to. So
Well, thank you.
I
Thank
just
you.
applaud you guys. Like Professor Rothman, I defer all interior design to my wife because.
It's okay. It's fine. That
Yeah,
way.
I think
that's
we
just
have-
a good decision.
I think we have time for one last question. We're almost at 8:30. There was a student up here in the back who wanted to ask a question.
I just wanted to add on to what Gary said. Claudio, I've been going to Park Place Bagels religiously for 3.5 years. I never knew you were the owner because you addressed me the same way the rest of your staff addressed me. So any one of them could have been the manager at that time. So I think that's just very exemplified in what makes a successful business where, the owner's not walking around in a suit.
Right. No, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll get my hands dirty. I'll clean the floors, whatever needs to be done.
Me too.
I will.
Well, again, I want to
Thank
thank
you.
you all very
Thank you.
much.
Thank
And
you.
I want to give you a little closing remarks. A little Concordia scarf that you can all wear proudly now. We didn't give you an honorary degree, but we gave you a nice scarf. Thank you all again, and
Thank you,
have a
everybody.
great day.